program, I'd like to introduce the president of St. Edward High School, Mr. Casey McNam.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for being here. As Paul mentioned earlier, this is one of the favorite nights of the year. There's something about the recognition dinner and the opportunity to recognize so many incredible people who have given so much to St. Ed's. And it makes this experience such a joy, and I feel honored to be able to stand in front of you all today. You know, at the heart of every great school, and I say this often to parents when we go through the admissions events, schools aren't campuses of buildings, they're collections of people. And St. Ed's is this incredible collection of people who have dedicated themselves to this unique Holy Cross mission that we have, where we embrace our faith, we commit to excellence in everything that we do, we form these wonderful lifelong relationships, and most importantly, we send young men out into the world to be servant leaders, to live lives that are meant for others and not just for themselves. And Paul mentioned Greg Lowe's comments this morning at his father's funeral. The best type of leader is a servant leader, and we seek to instill that in our students every step of the way. And this is graduation season. And today was actually the last day for our seniors. They were here for a half day today. And you look at that experience over 4 years for them, where they come to us as 14-year-old freshmen, and there are these tremendous moments of growth and transformation that happen over the course of 4 years. And our hope is that they go out in the world to transform the world. And I think of this event tonight and what the people who will be honoring have meant to St. Ed's. And I've been thinking about it through the lens of our seniors and ultimately what we want for them. And the qualities that the honorees embody tonight, that the positivity and the generous spirit that they have, reliability, passion, commitment, and then strength and vision. So when I think about the honorees, I think of those qualities. And those are the things that we're hoping to instill in the young men who we get to serve here every day. And so I want to thank you all for your commitment to making that happen. Before we get started tonight, I know we have a lot of past honorees who are in the audience tonight. And I should note, we mentioned Mr. Lowe. He was the very first winner of the Brother Thomas Henning Award when it was given years ago. Which has now become the Maureen Isabella Ashdown Award. And also Dan Cavally, who I know you all know we recently lost, he was a winner of the Henning Award as well. And so we are blessed to have this community touched by such remarkable people, and many of those remarkable people are in the room tonight. And so if we could take a moment to have you stand to be recognized, and let's give a round of applause to our past honorees. So our first award this evening is the Maureen Isabella Ashdown Award. And I'll read the description of the award. The Maureen Isabella Ashdown Award is presented to a non-graduate who exemplifies Holy Cross hospitality and loyalty, and loyally serves the St. Edward High School community. If you knew Maureen, and I knew a lot of you did, she had this incredible spirit. And so when we were thinking about who the perfect recipient of this award would be, the focus was not as much on what the recipient has accomplished as much as it is about the spirit that the recipient embodies. And if you know Joe Scarpetti, which I know many of you do, Joe embodies this incredibly positive, enthusiastic, and generous spirit. Joe's been part of this community in a formal capacity for 15 years as a coach in our basketball program. And Joe has been a fixture on this campus for 15 years. He's always here with his teams, working hard with kids. Yeah, I'm going to miss his early morning workouts and late evening workouts with Joey. There was very rarely a time when I would walk past the gym and the lights would be on, and there would be Joe and Joey getting up shots together. And he's always someone who you could go to, one, when you just needed a boost of positivity, but secondly, if you were ever in need. And, you know, I think of the conversations that I've had with Joe over the years, and they always end with, hey, is there anything you need? Is there anything I can do for you? And I just think that embodies this great spirit of generosity. Certainly, if you want to know about a person, to understand his family is a great reflection of that. And I would be remiss not to mention that his son, Joey, who's a senior, was named our Man of the Year last night. And I know Joe was so proud of Joey, and of course his daughters, Maria and Sarah. And you know, your family is an incredible reflection of who you are, Joe. So without further ado, it is my great honor to present Joe Scarpetti with the Maureen Isabella Ashdown Award.
Thank you, buddy. That was really great. Thank you very much. Okay.
You're going to put this on your name.
Okay.
Now we're going to scoot over. Lance down us a scoot over.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Terrific. Casey, thank you so much. Well, listen, thank you. And first of all, to the other award winners tonight, to Tom and Mary Holland, to Dave McNam, to Paul Lang and Tom Beck, congratulations. And truly, truly an honor to be involved this evening with all of you. To Casey and his staff, I saw Steph and Mr. Williams here, to Paul, Tracy, Jen, and Claire. And truly, to all the staff and teachers at this beautiful institution, thank you for your help in making St. Ed such a special place. To my family, you know, Nancy, Maria, Sarah, Joey, you are my strength. Thank you for your unwavering support and love. You know, your mom and I are so proud of you kids. Keep being strong. Keep being the best you can be. You have brought immeasurable joy to us, and we love you very, very much. Sarah, by the way, just graduated from IU on Saturday. Good job, Sarah. And Joey, really, congratulations again on Man of the Year. I was worried about tonight. This is really Joey's time, but it's a special night for you last night. And I know St. Ed's is etched in your heart forever, but continue your journey in life with kindness, humility, caring, and know to love one another as God loves you. Congratulations again. And to Maria, you know, you're our goodness, you're our heart, so you always keep us all in line, so thank you. You know, the most humbling part tonight, though, is receiving this award and who it's honored, Marie Isabella Ashdown. I didn't know her, so I had to call Casey. And I just want to hear a couple comments of what Casey said. Maureen was incredible. She had this phenomenal spirit and soul. She was a super partner to all of us that she worked with. She was so much fun to work with. And we miss her every day very dearly. She loved her family and a loving wife to Tom, devoted mother to Ryan, Aaron, Colin, 2 past Men of the Year. She loved St. Ed's, and she had an authentic belief in the mission here. So truly, to receive an honor and recognition of her name truly is cherished by me. So thank you, Maureen, for your love, your spirit, and most importantly, simply your goodness. Now, I had to talk to my kids about what I need talking about tonight, so I went to Joey first, and I said, Joey, what do you think? He goes, keep it short. I went to Sarah. She says, Dad, keep it short. So then I went to Maria, because she's the wisdom, and she'll give me some great advice. She said, Dad, don't be too long. So, that's a great way with words. By the way, I got my coach's buddy over there taking bets on how long I'm going to be, so here we go. By the way, I haven't started yet. Here we go right now. You're going to lose, Pete. Let me do 2 things, and 2 things only. I want to talk to you about what brought me to St. Ed's, and number 2, what will keep me at St. Ed's. There's 3 things that brought me to this beautiful organization. It's friendship, education, and basketball. You know, they say friendship is a gift. It truly is a treasure that enriches our soul and makes life more meaningful. Emerson once wrote, that a friend may be reckoned as the masterpiece of nature. I have deep gratitude to all my friends in this room that are here tonight. You know who you are. It would take me forever to mention your name, so I'm not allowed. Your friendship has taught me the true meaning of love, loyalty, and selflessness. I have always admired my friends from St. Ed's. They strive to be the kind of friend who make others feel loved, supported, and valued. And I'm telling you, you have done that for me. Your friendship is truly a gift. Secondly, education. Nelson Mandela once wrote that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. You know, I've always encouraged people, including my own children, to continually strive for knowledge, seek wisdom, and stay curious. Education has been important to me because education changed my life, for me and my family. But there's a certain kind of education that Nancy drove in our family, and that's a Catholic education. You know, when I think about it, she grew up grade school, high school, University of Dayton, Xavier, all through life. So we had schools like St. Bernadette's, Lakewood Catholic Academy, St. Joe's Academy, and St. Ed's. You look, I'm a public school kid, and she always reminds me that's the problem with me. I didn't have that Catholic education. But there are two Pacific stories that brought me, besides friendship and education, that's basketball. Truly brought me to St. Ed's. Timmy Coyne's going to remember this. By the way, I got to tell you something. Timmy Coyne and Coach Flan's birthday's tomorrow, so happy birthday to these guys. Let them know. So one day I get a call from Timmy. He says, Scarp, you got to come to a basketball game at St. Ed's. They're playing Iggy. I'm like, I've never been to St. Ed's. I've never been to these halls. I've never been to the gym. He goes, I'm taking you. We're going to sit next to Cookie. We're going to kick his butt, right? I said, okay. So this is my first experience. I want you all to remember this. I really want you to remember your first experience. It was unbelievable. I get here. It was in total awe. I'm a huge basketball fan. The atmosphere, the intensity, the community, the kids. The outcome was exhilarating. We're down 6. We got 1 minute to go. I don't know how he did it, but somehow we win the game. The place erupts, and I'm sitting back there going, oh my God. I want to be part of St. Ed's basketball. And a few years later, I got a call about 15 years ago from a Coach Flan. I know Lori put him up to it for sure. This call asked me to be on his staff as assistant freshman coach. I am so thankful for Lori and Coach Flan for that opportunity. It propelled me to jump to the second curve of my life, a curve that has been so much more meaningful than the first curve of my life. And because it's been more meaningful, as I get to be able to coach young men and be part of this great institution, I truly thank you, Coach and Lori, for that call. And from that day on, it was Joey's dream to come to St. Ed's, get a great education, play hoops for St. Ed's and Coach Flan. He's living his dream, and wow, what a ride. To all my coaches' friends, I'd ask them to stand up. They're at table 15. Coach Nugent isn't here. Coach Campbell, 12 years on the bench with him. Unbelievable. Coach Sweeney, Coach Donlin does so much work for these kids. Coach Lakovic, he took me over. I hope he loses. Coach D, my God, Joey's guy since 4th grade. Coach Jimmy Flannery, the old-timer with me. Coach PJ, Coach Chambers, Coach Lurch, Coach Eric Hadoff, Coach Peach Kaler. Surely not last at all is TJ. TJ, thank you for your unwavering support for me and my family. Now, you know, you talk about brotherhood around this place. These are my brothers. I understand brotherhood now. I've been blessed to coach with them for 15 years. And to all the young men and to all the parents that allowed me to coach their kids, I thank you. It has been a joy in my life. So family, education, basketball brought me here. Let me tell you what will keep me here. It will surely be all of you here tonight and those who couldn't make it that foster and drive the dedication and commitment to the pillars of the Brothers of the Holy Cross. Your unwavering devotion in providing quality education, fostering a nurture environment for these young men in these halls is truly commendable. Your selfless service has touched the lives of countless young men, molding them to responsible and compassionate global citizens. St. Ed's is making this world better. Your mission has instilled the importance of service and giving back to the community, which is so important to me, and I hope it'll be important to my 3 children. Keep teaching them in the classroom and on the playing field. But teach them that success, and true success, is not only measured solely by academic achievements, but also the impact they can have on other people's lives. Through our mission at St. Ed's, continually teach them the value of empathy, kindness, and and the power of lending a helping hand. This is St. Ed's. This is what I love about St. Ed's, and this is why I will always stay here at St. Ed's. I would like to thank and express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizer of this wonderful event, Marie and Isabella Ashdown, your spirit, your love. I accept this award with humility and a renewed commitment to continue to make a difference in other people's lives. Together, all of us, let us strive to create a better world, guided by the principles of the Holy Cross: faith, excellence, relationship, and servant leadership. Let us all wrap these with compassion and love. I'm convinced we can make the difference in the lives of others, and we will truly make this world a better place. Even though I didn't graduate from St. Ed's, I am with them and of them, and I'm very proud to be associated with this great place. Friendship, education, b-ball brought me to St. Ed's. All of you in this room in this mission will keep me here. So in conclusion, I remember one year they had a motto, and Jim Gubacki kicked it off with a Bible verse from Isaiah. It was Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But they who want for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on the wings of eagles. They shall run and not weary. They shall walk and not be faint. All of you in this beautiful and elegant institution that we call St. Edward High School, with the help of God, has helped me run and not weary, and to walk and not faint. And for that, I am ever humbled and grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. By the way, if you think Joe is cool, you should meet Nancy, his wife, who we had a great conversation at the back of the gym last night, and I said, Nancy, you're going to need a new bookshelf for all these awards you guys are picking up this week. And she's like, where's my award? I just spent 21 years making lunches every day, and yesterday was my last lunch. So, we got your flowers, Nancy. Nancy also has to run after prom tomorrow, which is like the biggest negative of having a kid who's like really exceptional, is we give you the reward of running after prom. So thank you for that. Our next award is the St. Brother Andre Bessette CSC Award, which is presented to a volunteer whose selfless commitment to St. Edward High School inspires servant leadership throughout the community. I am very excited to present this award to Paul Lang from the class of 1975. I have had the great privilege of working with Paul probably for 14 years now. And for those of you who know Paul, he manages the Signorama store out in North Olmsted, and he has been an incredible partner to St. Ed's over the years, not only with the Wings auction and events like these, but with all of the beautiful signage that you see around this campus when you walk through the campus. The thing I most love about Paul, I was thinking about this today, Paul. I don't know that there's a time that I've ever called that you haven't picked up the phone. And there's a consistency to Paul that is incredible. And I will say, very often, I would be calling Paul with a question like, hey, we have 70 signs to print, and we need them in 2 days. Can you do it for us? And Paul also never says no. And he's been an incredible partner to us in terms of beautifying this space, but embodying what a volunteer at St. Ed's is. Somebody who went to school at St. Ed's, who believes so deeply in the mission that he's willing to drop anything to help the school. And so it is my great honor to present Paul Lang with the St. Brother Andre Bessette CSC Award.
going to be hard to follow Joe. I too wish to congratulate all of the honorees tonight. I had a chance to read all of your bios, and you are truly deserving of the award that you are receiving this evening. So congratulations to you. When Casey called me back in February, came up on my cell phone, it says Casey McKenna, and but it could be anybody because it's coming from the main line, and I'm figuring it could be the advancement office, it could be admissions, it might be somebody from somewhere else calling about something. And because since Casey's become president, he's moved away from some of the things we deal with, so I'm not normally used to getting a phone call from him. But he called me, and then when he told me what what they wanted to do, I was shocked. And I didn't know what to say. I was at my shop, I went in the back, and I was pacing because I was trying to figure out, I didn't know what to say. It had to be the quietest 5 minutes of your life coming from me. But I was so honored that I was even considered for this. So I thank you for that. One of the first things I did after they called is I went online and I looked to the website and I wanted to see who the past winners have been for the various awards, but in particular the St. Andre Bessette Award. And I knew a number of the people that are there, and I started thinking about how I know them and how I know them through the school here. And the people like Dennis Walsh from the class of '73, I feel like Dennis has been taking tickets or selling tickets for this school since I was a freshman here. It's been such a long time. He's always here. It doesn't matter what event it is, he's always there. And the funny thing is, I remember as a freshman going to my first St. Ed's football game and walking in, getting excited to be there, and his father's taking the tickets. And it's run through the family. And in a small world, his father ended up being a boss of mine for a few years in my previous career. And then Tom Ginley. I've known Tommy for a long time, going back to skating outdoors at Winterhurst back in the 70s. And through St. Ed's and then John Carroll, we were fraternity brothers together, so I've known Tommy a long time. And he's been team physician for how many years? For forever, for all this. He just always is there for the school. And I think it's just incredible to me. And then I look at Tom and Margie Bodel, and whatever was ever asked of them, they have been here, whether it's working wings and all the different things going on there, working the community meal, and who knows what other things would have been asked, or maybe not even asked, but they just volunteered to do it. Just very giving people. And then I could go on with many more, but I'll cut it off at Nick Gores. He's last year's honoree. Nick's a class of '03, and he has been working wings. He has been working with the plays and all that stuff since he was a student here, working with his dad, John. He's always been there, always giving to the school. I think it's just great. So to be thought in a similar light as these people and all of the other honorees is truly an honor. I appreciate all of the opportunities that St. Ed's has afforded me over the years, but it wouldn't have happened for me if not for Jim Wagner. Because as I recall back early 2000 teens, 10, 12, something like that, he kind of put me in touch with Colleen Kiley in advancement regarding the upcoming alumni golf outing. And it was the first time I had an opportunity to do some work with the school. And it ended up opening a door to what has been an incredible relationship for me. And I'm very fortunate for what I've been able to do with St. Ed's, and I'm forever grateful to you, Jim. I found out just less than 30 minutes ago that a couple of my classmates were also putting a big plug in there for I'm not sure which event it was, John Fox and Jay Geib. So I appreciate that as well, but I didn't realize that right away. During this time, I've been able to be involved with the school. It's been amazing to watch how it has changed, how it has grown, how it is going to continue to change and keep growing. And I do have some personal satisfaction that I've been able to have opportunities to work and collaborate with the administration and the staff on so many of the different things. I know Casey alluded to a number of them, just working on the school themes every year. A lot of the messaging and the graphics, it's kind of fun to walk here and see something that you've done and see that it's been there for a while and didn't fall down on you or something. And as well as working on wings and the golf outings and other events. It's been great. And it's also enabled me to meet so many incredible people from St. Ed's, the St. Ed's community. I do want to throw a big shout out to the class of '75. You guys show up. It doesn't matter, a lot of guys are here tonight, but they show up for everything. All the big events, we have a great class. And it starts with guys like John Curran, Jay Geib, and John Fox, and Carl Hughes, and Sean Hennessy, and John Newbert, whether it's financial or their time volunteering on things or just being at the events. We have a great class, and I'm really proud to be part of the class of '75. The last thing I was going to say, this may be a little corny, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think about our fight song. On you mighty eagles, you have to fight to win a victory. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing it or say the whole thing. But at the end of the song, it says, and when the game's on record, no matter what the final score may be, with all your heart, with all your strength, you played the game and won a victory. And I know it's always been geared to our sports teams and, we're on the courts and fields and the pool and the ice, whatever it might be. But I see it as a part of the administration and the staff, the faculty, the students, their parents, the alumni, and all the people that have volunteered here. You see, they play their game with all of their heart and all of their strength every day. And it's a win for St. Edward High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. One of the longest nights I can remember at St. Ed's, Paul was part of. The mural on the wall over the gym doors was probably a more ambitious task than either of us wanted to take on. And I'm certain that I had screwed up the format of the file. And we spent hours and hours trying to get that thing to stretch and work. But Paul never gave up, and it's still standing today. It hasn't fallen off yet, so thank you for that. Our next award is the Bronze Eagle Award, which is presented to an esteemed alumnus whose dedication to St. Edward High School not only soars above, but also serves as a beacon for others. And I think that's an important part of that inscription, serves as a beacon for others. When I think of Dr. David McNam from the class of 1961, he is someone of such incredible passion, and that passion serves as a beacon for others. You know, I look around this gym at all of the state championship banners over us, and they're all representative of this incredible commitment to excellence. And, you know, that commitment to excellence started with our first state champion in 1961, and Dave McNam, who won the pole vault state championship, and set the tone for all of these wonderful champions to come after him. And if you know Dave, you know how passionate he is about a lot of things, but any conversation I've ever had with Dave has always focused on his passion for not only St. Ed's, but for the University of Notre Dame, and certainly for his family. And he has been such an incredible cheerleader for this institution. I can think of very few games that Dr. McNam isn't sitting behind the bench at a basketball game, cheering on Coach Flan and the Eagles, or at a football game. And, you know, very often he'll be outside with our young men, working as a volunteer with the track program, trying to keep that excellence alive, and training hopefully the next pole vaulter that will come our way. And so, Dr. McNam, we are incredibly grateful for your passion that you bring to this community, and that you serve as a beacon of light for all of us to bring that passion to St. Ed's. And it is my honor to present you with our Bronze Eagle Award.
Well, I'd like to start out by telling you that I generally try to avoid exaggerating any of my accomplishments. So I decided well, he knows better. So I decided the best way to approach tonight was let Jennifer exaggerate my accomplishments. And I think she did a fine job of that. If any of you saw the bio she wrote about me, if I didn't know better, I would have been impressed with me. But I do. So, and there's, you know, I think anytime you receive an award, recognition such as this, there's a tendency to feel very honored and at the same time humbled. And the reason, and I say in my case, the emphasis would have to be heavily placed on humbled. And the reason I say that is because of my great admiration for this high school. I look at the past administration with Mr. Jim Kavaki, who did a wonderful job for us, and handed the baton, you know, the current leader with Casey McKenna, and with leadership like that. And I look at the athletic department with Peter Kaler, the faculty, and 3 coaches. And I remember, I'm going to go back a little bit. There was a time that there was a young coach who was interested in a prominent sport here as a coach. He was an inexperienced candidate who I knew from playing hoops with my son. And so I advocated to the committee chairman here that he consider this individual. It just so happened one day the individual called me. I was in my office, and he told me that he was applying for the job here, and he wondered if I might be in a position to help him. It just so happened that the head football coach was in my chair. So I spoke to him, and the athletic director at the time was a very good friend of mine. So as it develops, I asked the football coach, Dan Flaherty, about him, and Dan said, you know, he's a finalist. We think very highly of this individual. And he said, but we'd like to make sure, he said, we think he has a bright future, that he's not just going to do well here and leave after 2 to 3 years. Can you get a commitment from him? So I called, and the coach told me that he would make a commitment for at least 5 years to St. Ed's. I went back to the chair, talked to Dan Flaherty, and then put in a final sales pitch. And St. Edward's hired the guy I was aggressively advancing. That was one of the best services I ever performed for St. Ed's, beyond a doubt. And that individual is here tonight, and he was hired as our basketball coach, Eric Flannery. So thank you so much, Eric. He's just a great guy. And I'd like to just share briefly my perspective with you with a few of the coaches here. One of them actually I haven't seen here, which is Greg Urbis in wrestling, along with Brian Heffernan. Is he here, Greg? Yeah, okay, thank you, Greg, yeah. And after I was the first state champion in 1961, the next state champion at St. Edward's in 1978 was Brian Heffernan, who now works with Greg with the wrestling team. And I want to share my perspective with you. I tell you, I was very happy to get to address this group tonight because there were 2 points that were most important to me to make. The first point is what I'm engaging right now, and that is with coaches such as Greg Urbis in wrestling, Eric Flannery in basketball, and of course Tom Lombardo in, now what sport was that? Tom, what did you just win your 3rd consecutive state championship in? Football, of course, so thank you. And here's I think the perspective you have to have with all 3 of these individuals. Realistically, if any high school coaching job in this state opened up in their respective sport, if they showed an interest, they would be the #1 candidate throughout the state. And I don't think that's a stretch at all. And yet they have stayed here with us at St. Edward's. They also could have decided to go into the small college ranks some years ago and advance from there to Division I. And the financial rewards would have been very, very substantial. And yet they decided to stay with us, even if it entailed some personal sacrifices. So that's why I'm so happy to talk tonight, so that I could share this perspective. And Greg and Eric and Tom, would you mind please standing up? If you and everybody, let's give them a heartfelt applause. All right. I thank you very much. And I'll tell you a couple of things that aren't really too relevant to this, really, so I'll get through it pretty quickly. But there was a number of years ago, I've been coaching the pole vaulters here as a volunteer since 1972 when I got out of dental school. And we've had some phenomenal athletes here. And I've been very pleased with this. But also, with the pole vaulters, it just so happens that I've coached 2 Olympic gold medalists. One of them was Tim Mack from some school down here. Yeah, okay. St. Ignatius, obviously. Another was a girl named Katie Najette. She goes to Olmsted Falls High School, and I worked with her one summer. And Katie Najette is, in fact, she's the reigning gold medalist in the last Olympics, and she's competing again this next year. And she's really quite an outstanding person. But I want to tell you one other thing that's of great importance to me, and I know it's outside the lines, and I've discussed this with some individuals here in authority at St. Edward's and asked if I could discuss this. And what I'm going to tell you now is so impactful that honestly and truly, it may save lives. And that's why I'm thrilled to have an opportunity to discuss this. back on August 28th of 2015, I was told my melanoma had advanced to stage 4. Subsequent to that, they removed 31 lymph nodes from my neck, then it went to my right lung. They had to resect the upper lobe. After that, my doctor let me know there was no sense in continuing with these operations. They weren't really going to extend my life. It just so happens that my older and younger brothers are both radiologists. The older brother would read films for doctors in hospitals around the country. He was reading films for a doctor in Ocala, Florida, right by Disney World. And all of this doctor's stage 4 melanoma patients were surviving. My chance of survival, I had a 5% chance of surviving for 5 years. It's now been 9 years, and I'm sure I'm cured. And it's because he came across this doctor who, without making this too involved and lengthy, did what they call BID radiation for me. They know that melanomas are routinely resistant to radiation. He thought 2 wrongs make a right. He did it twice a day. So he did it for me every morning at 9, the afternoon at 3, 5 days a week for 8 weeks. What I didn't know at the time is he told my brother Larry when he started, he said, Larry, your brother David is going to be perfectly fine. When would a doctor make such a statement with a terminal melanoma case that had a few months to live? And I want you people to know about this because I talked to Norman Anderson about 4 years ago, and I asked him, Doctor, did you just extend my life by a few years? He said, no, David, you're cured. It's never coming back. And so hearing that, he told me also, he said, David, 609,000 people die annually in the United States of cancer. He said, with his approach, I can save 85% of them. And that's why I'm so happy to talk to you tonight. Not only that we could recognize these splendid individuals, but honestly, it could possibly save lives because you happen to be here. And he told me, David, with all those 609,000 deaths, I can save 85% of them with my BID treatment. And so it was just very important to me that with the rest of my life, since my life is almost miraculously saved, that I have an opportunity to say this to some of you and to share this. And now I will never gain to any extent financially, and probably Norman Anderson won't either because he won't be going to Florida to get the treatment. But when I got my treatment up here, he called the hospital and let him know what the parameters were, dosage, frequency, all that type of thing. And so I'm going to tell you, if there's anybody here who happens to be in a difficult situation, my table is right over here. And if you care to come over afterwards, give me your name, your number, and I'll tell you how you might be able to pursue this if you're in jeopardy. But so that could make this very nice meeting, we could transcend that by saving lives. And so whether it's yours, a loved one, a best friend, or a casual acquaintance, or now in the near future. And if anybody needs to contact me in the near future, I don't answer all the telemarketing calls I get every day. Call the school, give them your name, your number, and Jennifer will contact me, and I'll get back to you within hours if anybody is in jeopardy. So with that, well, I'll just tell you one last thing, that after Tim Mack won the Olympics in 2004, he called me at the office. He came back into town, and his family was having a party, and I thought it was a crank call because I didn't know I'd ever worked with him. As it develops a lot of values from Ed's, Ignatius, Lakewood High, Rocky River, Bay Village, used to come because, like most of you, I had a pole vault pit in my backyard, okay? So in any case, so he came over there and worked with me, and I'd never realized it, so I didn't know the name. But he was so kind after he won the Olympics that he was, he took me out to golf at Elyria Country Club, and he was asking me, like I was a celebrity. I wanted to speak to him about his gold medal, and he wanted to know all about my state championship. So I finally decided that I was responsible for his silver medal height. I'll give him credit for the gold, okay? And, but I thank you all for your time and for listening to me. And if anybody here is in plight or in the near future is in plight with cancer, and again, 1,670 people lose their lives every day to cancer in the United States. If that's anybody who's here, I would be so pleased, because that's how I'd like to spend the rest of my life. And in case any of you are wondering about the cane, there might be one or two, that's a question in the back of your mind. I have an explanation. That doesn't mean it's a good one, okay? But my wife, who passed away at Christmas time a year and a half ago, always made Christmas so special to me and the family. And so ever since, I have my cane at the Christmas lights, and I think of her when I look down. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. McNam. Our next award is the Alumnus of the Year, which is the highest honor bestowed upon an alumnus. This award recognizes exceptional contributions to the St. Edward High School community alongside a lifelong commitment to upholding the ideals of Holy Cross education. I can think of very few people whose description of their life and work fit this so well as Mr. Tom Beck's from the class of 1977. Mr. Beck's, Tom, has been serving in some capacity at St. Ed's really since he graduated, going back almost 45 years, making him amongst the longest standing alumni who have ever served in this school community. I very clearly remember meeting Tom Beck's for the first time. I was actually at the end of my sixth grade year and was coming into what was then the Skills and Thrills program, the summer enrichment program, and Mr. Beck's was one of the counselors, and I got to know him very well through that time at Skills and Thrills for 2 years, and then when I came to St. Ed's as a student. And I often joke that anything I know about morality I learned from Mr. Beck's. Right or wrong, my junior year of high school when he was my morality teacher. Of course, Tom went on from the classroom to be a long-standing Dean of Men here, and a job that is incredibly difficult. And if you know Tom, you know just how caring and compassionate he is about that work. And when I came back to St. Ed's in 2007 to work professionally, I really saw Tom as this incredible mentor, and to use a term that we used in the last description, a beacon of light for the students here. It is not an easy task to work with the students who are the most challenging in our community day in and day out. And to do that over a long number of years is incredibly difficult. But Tom always handled that with such incredible grace and compassion and with a lot of humor as well. Dr. Frank Olin, who's the superintendent of the diocese, who was a long-standing administrator here and a former principal, he sent me a great email this week that it focused on a situation that was particularly difficult in the school with a student who was really in crisis and having a serious issue. And Tom, as the dean of students, had to be there to support the issue. And throughout that ordeal, at some point, the student said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And Tom's response was, "It's because we love you." And that story really sums up who Tom was as a disciplinarian, somebody who always did something with such care and compassion. Now, I have seen other stuff from Tom. One time, this kid who was being particularly annoying, I'll go off script a little bit, he was opening, if you know the school well, you know we have these metal gates that go down, and he and another person were trying to lift the gates so that they can sneak into the school, and we had it on camera, and I happened to be in Tom's office while he was looking at that, and Colleen Filler had brought the student in to talk to Tom, and Tom asked if I wanted to stick around, and he had a big smile on his face, and so he showed the video to the kid, and the kid's response was that wrong to do? And Tom's response, yelling, was, "Do you think I'm stupid, son?" So Tom didn't always handle things with tremendous grace, but with great humor. And truthfully, I've learned so much from Tom. In the past couple of years, Tom has moved back to the classroom. He's moved back to teaching junior theology. And he's been a great blessing to the theology department. He's somebody of such incredible faith. Tom is often saying the rosary. He's got a rosary in his pocket all the time, and you'll often find him saying the rosary. And he's also moved back to being a coach on the sidelines of the football field, coaching our linebackers for the varsity football team. And again, I can remember standing with Tom when he was the dean of students at a number of our football games, and he would be telling me, they're going to do this next, and they're going to do this next, and he was right all of the time. And I was like, why are you standing with me? Like, you should be standing down there with them. And Tom has been an incredible part of the success that we've had recently in the football program as he's returned to the sidelines. You know, most importantly for me, Tom has become a great friend, and we spend a lot of time really just relentlessly making fun of each other during the day, and you know, his classroom is right by the main hallway, and so every day we have a lot of witty banter that goes back and forth, most of which cannot be shared here, but it's something that I've truly enjoyed, and you know, his friendship and mentorship has meant a lot, not only to me, but to so many of us in the St. Ed's community. And so it is my great, great pleasure to present Tom Becks with the Alumnus of the Year Award.
Got to put on some cheaters. Congratulations to the fellow honorees, so well deserved. Thank you all in attendance, especially for those who came on my behalf. And I especially want to thank the class and my brothers of the class of 1977. Thank you for the turnout today. We have the February Class Challenge, and the first 3 years of the February Class Challenge, due to these men to my right, we won the February Class Challenge. It just says so much about our class, and I appreciate all of you for being here. Well, good evening. I'm honored and even more humbled to be receiving this award. When Casey came to me and told me that I was going to receive it, I hemmed and hawed and tried to tell him it's a bad idea, one of his many. However, he said something that threw me. He said, "We wanted to give you this before you were gone." And immediately my mind went to, this is the nicest way I've ever been let go from a job. Anyway, G.K. Chesterton said, "If a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing badly." So let's get on with this speech. St. Edward to me has always been about relationships, and that is one of the pillars of our school.
The first and primary relationship of my life has been my relationship with Christ. I was 19 years old, raised Catholic, and always believed in God. But I had a conversion experience one night that I can only describe as Pentecost-like. It changed the direction of my life. From that moment on, I've been able to trust in the divine mercy of God, and I believed in Him personally loving me, and that I was His. Since then, I also have been able to trust in His divine providence for my life. God has always been faithful, even when I have not, and He has written straight with the crooked lines of my life. Next, I need to thank Arthur and Catherine Beck, my parents. There hasn't been a day in my life where I didn't know I was loved because of them. My dad is the person I respect the most. He had a tough life. He was born at the beginning of the Depression. His dad died when he was a teen. He had to quit high school and work to help support his mom and 2 siblings. Uncle Sam gave him a free vacation in South Korea for a couple of years. He came back ready to marry the woman who wrote to him while he was gone. I'll tell you my favorite story and words my dad ever told me. My dad didn't say much. He was a quiet man, and he worked very hard. It kind of was, just do what I do and you'll be okay. My dad worked construction as a carpenter, so I'm a carpenter's son. Sometimes he needed help with different projects, and we were working on a staircase in our garage, and I happened to be pontificating to him about love. So get the picture. A 17-year-old son telling his father of 5 about love. Well, all of a sudden, my dad stopped working. And if you understood my dad, he never stopped working. He slowly put a handsaw down. And then he turned to me and gave me a look, which I read as, "I've raised an idiot son." Then he kind of turned his head and said these 4 important words. He said, love is sacrifice. And he turned back and he picked up his saw and he started working again. That image is etched in my mind, and when I get off track, I remember those words. I'd like to thank some other people. I'd like to thank my John Carroll crew and their families. Luigi Pecoraro, Pat Corrigan, Paul Prokow, the class of 1978, Jim Hogan, the class of 1977. You couldn't find better Catholic family men, as we all raised families together with the support of one another. 2 people I need to thank for my early years at St. Edward High School, Dan Flaherty and Greg Urbis. Dan was my high school coach. He invited me back to coach only a few years out of high school as he saw me coaching at my parish. He then said, why don't you go back, get your degree in religious studies, and hopefully there'll be a job as a theology teacher for you. My life at St. Ed's doesn't happen without Dan Flaherty. He's been a coach, a mentor, a colleague, and a friend. Thank you, Dan. I want to thank Greg Urbis for being Greg Urbis. If you know Greg, you know what I mean by that. A man whose compass is always set at true north. I want to thank all my colleagues, but they're too numerous to mention tonight. But today, they can be summed up in one person, the best of who we are as a faculty and staff, and that is Daniel Cavally. Everything good and Christ-like was in Dan, and we're all the better for him. We have walked and worked among a saint. I'd like to thank all the presidents and principals at St. Ed since I've been here. Brother James Spooner, Brother Peter Graham, Dr. Greg Good, Dr. Franco Lynn, James Reed, Matt Stepnowski, Jeff Morton. 3 individuals I need to thank in particular. The first is Gene Boyer. He was the principal here when I had most of my dean years, and he had a lot on his plate, but he always had time for me, and he always had my back. The next is Jim Kabaki. We didn't start to talk about servant leadership here until Jim Kabaki came. He brought servant leadership to St. Edward High School, and his vision for education has made us exemplary among all schools. He's been a mentor and a friend, and Jim, I want to thank you. I appreciate it. Finally, I'd like to thank Casey McKenna, who started here as the Director of Admissions and Marketing, and now has moved up to President of our school, and frankly, with very little talent. I still may get fired. Much of what we do here on a daily basis revolves around Casey's vision for this school. And what we put into practice, it's Casey driven. From our educational focus, to our schedule, to our emphasis on culture of brotherhood that is so much a part of this community. That's all Casey. That's all Casey. So, Casey, thank you so much. I need to thank my fellow coaches. Yeah, give him a hand. He needs it. I need to thank my fellow coaches, and in particular, Coach Tom Lombardo and Coach Pete Pappas. Excellent, excellent coaches, but even better men. They have allowed me to return to coaching football after a long absence. And when I wonder when and where we're teaching excellence in every aspect of this school and in the life of students, I just got to go out on that field at 3:30 during the football season. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Pete. Finally, from the St. Ed side, I need to thank all the students and athletes that I've worked with over the years. From my perspective, what greater job can a man have in this world but to educate and coach young men? When something funny happens in class, which often happens, I say to the students, you know they pay me for this? It's incredible. It's incredible. I have a job that everyone should envy. It's a job that I love coming to on a daily basis. Father Greg Boyle, whose work in ministry is with the rehabilitation of LA gang members, spoke to our students a number of years ago. And he said, St. Ed's isn't a place you go, it's a place you go from. Well, God has greatly and richly blessed me because he told me I could stay. Finally, I need to thank my family, to my sons and their families. Josh, Melissa, Jackson, Ellie Grace, and Rory, and then Dan, Mariana, Brielle, and Braden to be born. You have given me two of the greatest roles a man could have, father and grandpa, and I thank you. And finally, to my wife, Sue, the greatest gift God has ever given me on this earth. If my dad was right about love and sacrifice, and I think he was, you have loved me a whole lot better than I've loved you. You have been a coaching widow for St. Edward High School and a dean widow for St. Edward High School every year that I've been here. None of my life here occurs without your support and sacrifice. I stand in wonder at the person God has placed in my life. I love you always. I will end with one of my favorite scripture quotes that I often put before our students. 1 Corinthians 16, 13, 14. And St. Paul writes, be on guard, stand firm in the faith, be strong and courageous, and act like men. Finally, do everything in love. Thank you for this honor. Appreciate it. Get this out of your way.
Thank you so much, Tom. Our final award of the evening is the Brother James A. Everett CSC Benefactor Award. This prestigious award is presented to an individual or group honoring transformative support and steadfast dedication to the mission of St. Edward High School. Tom in his speech mentioned the idea of divine providence, and divine providence is something that the congregation of Holy Cross holds up as one of its most important charisms. Some people might see divine providence as coincidence or as serendipity. We see it as God working in certain ways in our lives. And I think it is incredibly providential that the Holland family settled on Thoreau Avenue a couple blocks away so that Tom and his brothers Dan and Mike could attend St. Edward High School from the very early days of our founding and have a huge impact on this community over the course of not only being students here, but being involved in many ways on our board of trustees as coaches. And many know that Tom was the founder of our lacrosse program, which has grown so much over the years. It's also providential that Mary Holland came to Cleveland one time from New York and met Tom Holland, and he was very fortunate enough to get her to stay. Tom and Mary have been these incredible pillars, not only of the St. Ed's community, but of the Lakewood community. Their involvement at St. Luke Parish, their involvement at Lakewood Catholic Academy, and certainly their involvement at St. Ed's has enriched the lives of so many. And for me, it's been such an incredible pleasure over my time at St. Ed's to have gotten to know Tom, and through Tom to have gotten to know Mary. These are people who have these incredible hearts for helping people, and their vision for the ways that they can support the communities that they're involved in is it's really without match. The things that they have done for St. Edward High School to support the mission of the brothers is incredible. And we are a stronger school 75 years after our founding because the Holland family providentially was so close in proximity to our campus and chose to make St. Ed's their home. Tom has been a longtime member of our board of trustees, and Mary is always by his side. And their incredible support of this community and their continued support of this community will mean that young men for generations will have the opportunity to continue to pursue excellence and have their lives transformed by St. Ed's. And for that, we are very, very grateful. And so it is my great pleasure to welcome Mary and Tom Holland to the stage and present them with the Brother James Everett CSC Benefactor Award.
I just had 2 knees done, so I can live like that. My dear?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay. I don't either.
Really and truly. Well, that's not totally true. I do have something to say. When I first came to Ohio, when I first came to Ohio, and we were driving around Lakewood, and one of my early visits, one of the first things Tom did was drive by St. Ed's and point out where he went to high school. I should have known then how important this school was to him. Here we are, all these years later. So I'm going to let him talk, and thank you all for coming and being with us tonight to celebrate.
It'll be short. Excellent from all of you, just the other speakers. My mom and dad did not finish high school. They had 3 Edsmen that went to Ivy League schools. My brother Dan went to MIT. I went to Cornell. My brother Mike went to Harvard. That really would not have happened without St. Ed's. We give them a tremendous amount of credit for our being able to start
our lives as we did. Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming.
I think we have a new award, the shortest acceptance speech. Congratulations, Hollins. Well, as we come to a conclusion to this wonderful evening, a couple instructions. So our award winners, please join us to the left side of the stage here. We'd like to get photos with you as a group and with your group as a whole. So as we wrap up, I'd like to ask you to join us over there. But as we do with all things here at St. Ed's, we end with our alma mater. So I'd like to ask Man of the Year, Joey Scarpetti, to join me here on stage.
Thank you guys.
And so alums, please stand if you forgot. It's on the back of your program. There you go.
All right, here we go. Hail to the green and gold. Hail our alma mater. Praise her with voices bold, with hearts that never falter. Hail to dear St. Edward High. Keep her banners waving. Loyal sons in unity, everlasting praise we sing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you again, everyone. Have a good night. And again, award winners, please join us to the side of the stage here.